Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 53. Dinosaur World is taking over Children's Theater Company for an immersive tour where you can feel the roar. Get ready to face off against a massive T-Rex and see what it feels like to get sneezed on by a Triceratops at Dinosaur World. Dinosaur World runs through April 5th, and you can find tickets and more info at childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, and of course at BAM, Blue Amp Media, blueamp.co on Substack. That's blueamp.co on Substack for Blue Amp Media. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Wednesday. Jeff Stein is going to join us today. He might be a little late. Apparently it's some sort of Ag Expo convention hoedown. I don't know what it is. He's there. He says he's going to try to break away as soon as he can to join us. But I guess the soybean and the corn matter more than us.
Yeah, that sounds about the most Iowa thing one could be doing today as well.
Okay. Do you remember WKRP in Cincinnati, that great TV show?
Yeah.
Do you remember Les Nessman in the Buckeye News Hawk Award?
Mm-hmm.
You go into any freaking radio station in Iowa, and there are awards just like that covering the walls with pictures of these news guys so happy because they have an award in the shape of a corn cob, which, okay, I don't judge. But, they have these things. And it's like, okay, yeah, it matters a lot for those guys down there. They do indeed love their ag-based news awards. Anyway, so we'll hopefully talk to Stein here in a little bit. Patrick, you're lucky I'm even here today. Do you know this?
Tell us why.
Well, I mean, I guess you're saying, really? We're lucky you're here. No, I am here because there has been a goal in my life. Now, I don't think you were here. This was, I'm guessing, about 9 or 10 years ago. I've been doing this show now for 16 years on this radio station.
Oh, you know what? I know what happened now.
Okay, so because about 8 or 9 years ago, I had at this point a tweet when Twitter wasn't a cesspool of hell. I had a tweet that was liked by one Mark Hamill. That's right, Luke Skywalker. As a boy who was born in 1968, this is it. That is it. I mean, it's it. It's like getting a hug from a Wookiee. I mean, it's it. I mean, that's it. That's the pinnacle of everything. And I was like, I got a like from him on Twitter. And I walked out the door only to be informed by management at that point that I actually have a contractual obligation to do a radio show that I can't just quit just because Luke Skywalker acknowledged my existence on this planet. Patrick, this morning, I got up, started scrolling through my beautiful Blue Sky, which, by the way, you should get up on. You can find me on the Substack network, of course, at Matt McNeil Show. But Blue Sky is where I've got my biggest following. It's 28,000 now. I have no idea. But I got 28,000 people following me there. I start scrolling through my notifications. Guess what little magical thing I found in there?
You tell the people.
Mark Hamill's following me. He's
right.
following me. I like when he follows me.
Mission accomplished.
Cusack was great. Remember when John Cusack followed us and we were like, oh my God, Cusack is following us? I mean, there's talk about another one. It's Better Off Dead, High Fidelity. I mean, gosh, I can run through it. Con Air. Cusack's like one of the only reasons you can watch Con Air, man. I love Con Air. It's you. That is Con Air. After Cusack followed me, my daughter goes, who? I went and got Con Air of all the movies I could. I think we have Better Off Dead, but she wanted to see Con Air. I showed him Con Air, and my daughter looks at me and is like, what is that John Malkovich? What's John Malkovich doing in this movie? And I was like, I don't know. Is that Steve Buscemi? Yes, it is. It is Steve Buscemi. It was just all the movies for a while were this. That's what all the movies were. So Mark Hamill, man. I got a preemptive phone call from management here at the station saying, Matt, we have been made aware that Mark Hamill followed you. You do have to show up for a radio show today. At that point, I was packing my bags. I mean, I was pouring gasoline over the social media pages because I was going to burn them to the ground. Goodbye. Been informed. Nope, I can't walk away from it quite yet. So, what I will say is this. I point this out. He did follow me, but the thing actually I love about Mark Hamill is not that he followed me, which is great. I mean, I love that. But he also liked two of the stories from yesterday's show. We talked about the story of Melissa Hortman and the efforts to get a few things named after her in the state of Minnesota. He liked that story. And then he liked a story from the Sahan Journal, which is an alternative news outlet, which is fantastic, which basically talked about a man with mental health problems who was taken out of a hospital by ICE agents, even though it was not recommended, and thrown someplace. We have no idea. And he actually liked both of those articles. So yes. I'm at a pinnacle here. Okay, so after this, tell me who could possibly. Who? I mean, Harrison Ford's just not on social media. That's not going to happen.
We'll have to think of one.
Helen Mirren would be good. Helen Mirren. I don't know if she's scrolling around on social media too much. Helen Mirren, Ryan Reynolds would not be bad. Ryan Reynolds would be a good get. I'm not going to, I don't think anything could beat. Mark Hamill. So this is kind of the mode I'm in. This is where I'm at today. And it's good. I'll get to a lot of things here today. It's good that I've got this positivity. I'll explain that coming up here in the next hour, though, if I can. I want to start with the war in Iran. And so we're blowing up a bunch of stuff. There does seem to be some level of power structure still left in Iran. It does sound like a lot of people that were in the leadership of Iran were killed. Yay. I guess. They weren't a threat to us. Really, they weren't. So, fine. So, they did take out, but there is, once again, apparently, some of the power structure there. We're bombing the living daylights out of it. They're sending some drones. They're basically hitting a lot of things. There is no end in this in sight. Once again, you're going to have to put in a ground invasion if you want to take over. I don't know how in the world you're going to be able to do that, though, without a massive turning on you from the public, because the public already is against this. The latest number I saw, this report came out yesterday, 27% of people approve of the Iran war. The Vietnam War had an approval rating in the last year of the Vietnam War of 29%. So it's not popular even now. I don't know how in the world do you think it's going to get popular if all of a sudden we have to put ground forces in. Carolyn Levitt batted down questions. It's apparent now. Okay, so either the Israelis or the U.S. hit that girls' school in Iran and killed 175 people, many of them young girls. And yeah, this happens. And it's not good. But of course, as much as it's starting to point to the fact that the United States might have been the person that launched the missile that took out the school, the United States obviously understands this is not the message, the image they want to portray, that their biggest kill count happens to be school kids. So the press secretary did not accept U.S. responsibility for the attack, noted that the Pentagon is investigating the strike. I would just tell you very strongly, the United States of America does not target civilians, unlike the rogue Iranian regime. Well, it's really hard for you to say that if we just killed 175 school kids. It's really hard for you to say we're not targeting civilians if you launched one into a school. You can say we don't do that. Our actions kind of counterpoint that. So, and I get it. You desperately want to spin this as, D-Day times 20. That's what you want to do. It's not helping that you targeted and killed a bunch of school kids. So there's that. Yesterday, I'd mentioned that apparently Trump is mad with Spain and the UK because Spain apparently was not going to allow us to use their bases to fly missions out of. Well, okay, so here's why, and this is one of the reasons why you can't trust the Trump administration at all. During a White House press briefing today, Levitt said that Spain had agreed to cooperate with U.S. operation in the Middle East. With respect to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear. The White House press secretary said, and it's my understanding over the past several hours, they agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military. And so I know that the U.S. military is coordinating with their counterparts in Spain. Now, the threat was that Trump vowed to cut off all trade with Spain unless they allowed us to start using their bases. Funny story, Spain doesn't seem to be in part of this conversation. Shortly afterwards, Spain's foreign minister, Jose Manuel Albreras, said that the Spanish government's position on the war in the Middle East and the bombings in Iran and the use of our bases has not changed one iota. A government spokesperson added, It is not true. We categorically deny any change. Spain's position has not changed. So Carolyn's lying. She's going to need a bigger cross. She's going to need a bigger cross. Of course, as well, we should mention that Israel is taking advantage of this to try to expand their territory north and go into Lebanon. The Lebanese health ministry said on Wednesday the death toll from Israeli strikes into Lebanon has risen to 72 people there. They've also added that 437 people have been wounded. More than 83,000 people have been displaced because they've leveled their houses. But once again, that's beachfront property that's got to be developed, right? Yeah, apparently so. So, the last thing here I want to get to, well, I mean, I might talk about this a little bit more on the other side of the break here as well. If you've not seen the footage, apparently one of our subs took out an Iranian ship that was torpedoed. It's okay. This is off the coast of Sri Lanka. So there actually is a question of international law which comes into place that there has to be a direct threat from a ship for us to be able to engage it and blow it up like we did. There wasn't. This was an Iranian ship that was off Sri Lanka. So off the, Sri Lanka, the island off the coast of India. And it was about 25 miles from there. So it was technically in international waters. And without warning, we just launched a torpedo into it and sank it. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said an American submarine sank the Iranian warship. He said the ship was sunk by a torpedo Tuesday. It died a quiet death. Well, I can tell you from the torpedo strike footage I saw, that wasn't quiet. He did not name the ship, but an announcement came from the Sri Lankan official said it's named the Iris Dena, which had gone down about 40 kilometers, 25 miles from the southern coastline of Sri Lanka. 80 bodies were found on the ship by rescuers. The Sri Lankan defense official told BBC it seems like there is, once again, a correlation of what you're seeing of quite a few people have died. And forgive me here, I'm trying to go through the briefs here that show me the actual numbers here. The Sri Lankans just responded to a distress call from the Iranian ship Wednesday morning. 80 bodies were found aboard by rescuers. They also said another 32 people were rescued. So 32 people did survive, the Sri Lankan Navy said. The survivors are seriously injured and have been taken to the hospital, the southern part of Gali, I think is the name of the town there in Sri Lanka, said their foreign minister. Hegseth said in a news conference on Wednesday that U.S. submarine had sunk an Iranian warship and thought it was safe in international waters. He also claimed the first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II. That's not true, actually. There have been ships that have been sunk by U.S. and Pakistan that had by use of torpedo. By the way, Sri Lanka has remained neutral in the conflict, and it refrained from taking any side at this point. More on this when I come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show. For delicious gourmet popcorn, Popped Corn, Popped corn.com has you covered. Popped Corn offered your favorite flavors ready to go. Cheese made with real cheese, their classic mix. More than 80 great flavors. Enjoy featured flavors like Shamrock Caramel and their tasty fudge and nuts. They sell their popcorn in various bag, gift box, and tin sizes, and they ship across the USA. Visit poppedcorn.com and enter in discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, Popped corn.com, and make everyone smile.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward, spells the same. Zero Res.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. By the way, we can get that StreamYard link to Stein. Let's make sure we get that done if we can. All right. Thank you, bud. 952-946-6205. All right. So we're talking about the submarine shooting down this Iranian boat just off the coast of Sri Lanka. Okay, fine. We're at war. This is what you do. All right. So there are a few things about this that immediately jumped out at me. First of all, it wasn't a situation where the submarine was going into a fleet of Iranian ships and henceforth had to be stealthy, shoot one and get out of there. It was one boat. They could have easily gone out there and come up and held people on the submarine until they've got, a U.S. military ship there to basically take them prisoners, because isn't that what they are? Prisoners of war. That's your argument. Prisoners of war. Now, I get it. You've already established the standard of random fishermen from Venezuela can be blown up in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico without cause. But the reality is that's not what you're supposed to do. And I'll get to why you don't do this. You didn't have any other military boats on standby. You didn't have any rescue, any place to take the survivors. You didn't have this. The intent of the U.S. submarine and of Hegseth was to kill everybody on board, even if they didn't die with the initial torpedo attack on the boat. Okay? They were all just going to drown. The Sri Lankan authorities went out there and took 32 people who, if you're in a time of war, which we are, and you guys keep saying it, even though you don't want to say it, prisoners of war, you can get information, you might be able to get stuff. The Sri Lankans were the ones who saved them. And I'm going to bet you $1 million they're not about to hand these people over to the U.S. authorities. U.S. authorities are not going to just get the Iranian prisoners, which Sri Lanka now has. These probably Iranians are safely in Sri Lanka because Sri Lanka is remaining neutral. They're not about to hand people over. But that's irrelevant because the entire point clearly was kill them all. Now, why don't you do that? Why don't you just sit there and as Pete Hegseth watches the torpedo blow up the boat, he goes, yay, drown them all, drown them all. We're Christians, to drown them all. And that apparently is what is going on within this administration. You basically have forfeited the ability to tell anybody that, hey, if Iran or anyone else, if you capture some of our soldiers, you'd better treat them to a nice 5-star hotel and 3 square meals a day. That's not how this works. We have international rules for a reason. And the rules don't just apply to the bad people we are fighting and not to us. Because guess what? To the rest of the freaking world, we're the bad guys now. We are the bad guys. We're the hyper-aggressive, over-aggressive, totalitarian thugs out there right now. And you basically shooting a boat and then saying, we're not going to rescue anyone, they can all drown. You've set the standard now that if any of our soldiers, because you're going to need to put foot soldiers in if you're going to take over Iran, any of our soldiers get captured, well, they're fair game to people who could probably outsick us any day of the week. This goes back to the mentality of post 9/11 and torturing people, which we should have never allowed. Abu Ghraib and these other facilities we had where we were just torturing people to torture them because this was some sort of sicko twisted fantasy from a zombie apocalypse film that had become mainstream conservative policy. You don't do this because you want to basically be able to say to the other side, hey, we treated your guys, they've been kept as prisoners, not the best conditions, but they've been kept safe. And you guys you're losing this whole thing right now. So I can't, like I said, I can't wait for the same people that basically said, drown them all. High fives around the board. Jesus! That's what they were saying. I have a hard time imagining you guys all of a sudden going out there when some of our other people are captured and all of a sudden saying, wait a second here. Wait a second here. There are international standards now, aren't there? Exactly. This is a mess. This is a mess. Hey, one thing that hasn't to do with war, I didn't want to get into this because we got Stein coming up here. Hopefully Stein coming up here. Like I said, he's at ag futures or soybean crops to talk about. So yesterday was the primary in Texas, and Jasmine Crockett, she delivered a defiant statement doubling down on the allegations of voter suppression while pointedly refusing to fade in the political background. I like Jasmine Crockett. If I was in Texas, she would have gotten my vote. I like her. I think she's exactly what the Democratic Party needs. And it's nothing against James Tallarico. I think it's a good problem to have for the Democrats in Texas. They had two quality candidates there. I like Jasmine Crockett better than Tallarico. So that's just my opinion. I understand because what had happened was a judge said the Dallas area voting could continue, and Paxton ran to the Supreme Court of Texas and had them shut that down. And so basically the voter suppression argument is that Jasmine Crockett is making is if people were allowed to vote there, that she would have probably won. I don't think she would have. I think Tallarico was too far ahead. But that said, there is this question. Now, here's the problem with this. And just if I can step back for a quick second. The Republicans in Texas clearly wanted to run against Jasmine Crockett. And we all know why. Because it was going to be, do you want this uppity black woman to be your senator, or do you want a white guy? And that was going to be their entire campaign. That was going to be the easiest path for them because they already know that there are large swaths of Texas where 80% of the people would not vote for Jasmine Crockett because she's black and a woman. That's a fact. Now, I'm not saying that Jasmine Crockett couldn't win. I think that this is going to be a really bad year for Republicans, frankly, but I think Ken Paxton going to the Supreme Court and shutting down the voting had far more to do with him being concerned that the runoff that he's now got with Cornyn would have not happened, that Cornyn could have pulled ahead and gotten just enough to where he had been the nominee. And so basically Paxton stopped that to help himself first. I think his second goal was basically he just against the idea of voting overall. I think that's just kind of the whole thing. I think they wish they could appoint the white man to be the representative wherever they could be. So I think the second, maybe it was a bit to stop Jasmine Crockett, but I don't think so. And I think that, and like I said, I'm not saying that Jasmine Crockett doesn't have a point, but I think the Republicans desperately wanted her over as James Tallarico because it makes an easier campaign when you're campaigning for the racist base of the Texas Republican Party, which is substantial and large. And that's just something we have to understand about these people. So there you go. Hopefully, Stein, when we come back, it is the Matt McNeil Show.
Every time the feeling kicks in, I might stay through the night.
It's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, and host of the Bradcast on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
With the excitement of March Madness coming, popcorn, that's Popped, corn.com, needs to be in your starting lineup. Enjoy your favorite flavor of popcorn, gourmet popcorn, like cheese made with real cheese, the classic mix, or the featured flavor of shamrock caramel. And many college teams are featured on Popcorn's tins. You can ship your team tin across the USA. Find your team at popcorn.com and enter in the discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, Popped, corn.com.
Do you need support living safely and independently in your home? Don't wait until a fall, accident, or unsafe step forces change. Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides home safety repairs and mobility modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, helping older adults stay in the homes they love. Offering aging-in-place home modification services like grab bars, railings, slip grips, and ramp installations, your safety and autonomy are their priority. Need safer stairs, porches, or decks? They handle full replacements. They also install fire safety essentials like smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Applications for services run through March 31st, 2026. Once that window closes, you'll have to wait for next year's window to apply again. Don't risk another unsafe day. Let your neighbors help. Apply today at rtmn.org and select Apply for Help. That's rtmn.org and select Apply for Help. Or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota. Safer homes, stronger independence.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only two seasons in Minnesota: road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are two seasons in Minnesota: summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat is set at an energy-efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 54. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 36. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 53. It's time to discover macarons like you've never tasted before in Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons conveniently located right off Highway 169. Perfect for gifts, corporate events, or even just yourself. Stop in or order online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
KTNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff.
Jeff Stein's our national and presidential expert and noted author. You can find his books at your favorite book retailer. The Iowa Business Report, the Iowa Politics Report, to come to us from his mothership of KXEL in Cedar Falls, Waterloo, where he usually is, but he's not with us here yet. I mean, he's at some sort of ag shindig get together. Let's rub the soybeans all over each other and find out what happens. There's some freaks, man. There's some freaks down in Iowa. Let's just be honest with you. They're freaky people. Tell me more about that corn on the cob. They are not going to allow me into that state ever again. He's down there somewhere, probing into the nether regions of the ag sector and asking it to cough. We'll find out what is going on when he does check in on here, but we'll definitely, obviously, this is going to be mostly about when we do talk to him. hopefully we'll talk to him here a little bit about the Iran situation and the things as they have gone there. I will say I would love to get his take on the numerous lies that Trump has put forward. Oh, there he is. There he is. I was about to say something. Where are you in Iowa right now?
You were just about to talk smack about me, and
No, I've been talking smack about you.
That's very good. So it's just another Wednesday. Good to know. Well, I jumped on now. I may have to bail to do my day job that they pay me for, but no, I'm at the Hawkeye Farm Show at the Unidome in Cedar Falls, and the mood is not as sunny as it was last year. How's that for phraseology?
Well, it's the fact that I was just reading about the Brazilian soybean markets and how they're expecting a robust record crop down there, and that can't be floating too well with the Iowans.
Not going well at all, because again, the level of uncertainty. Okay, how much did your gasoline go up at the pump in the last couple of days?
I haven't had to fill up. I swear I thought though, did I see 16 cents? 16, 17 cents?
Oh, well, you're the lucky guy because mine went up 40.
Wow.
Okay, in one day, Monday. So it's now 309. But here's the thing, and this, again, means nothing to me except I can just presume what it means. Fertilizer has gone up $100 a ton since Monday. Now, I don't know much, but I know that's a sizable increase in a short period of time that was not anticipated when margins are already short.
So the impression you're getting, and you are at an ag show right now, the impression you are getting is most people are like, okay, what are we doing here with Iran? I mean, it might be hey, we support the troops, that sort of thing, but there's a discernment about what is this point, because this is basically doesn't seem to have a goal and it's directly impacting us.
What I hear here, because again, it's a farm show, is more of this is just the last straw almost. It's like we did not need one more thing. All right. Margins were tight. Inputs were way too high. We were already having difficult conversations with our bankers. I've talked to some of the bankers. It's a difficult pull. And then this happened with the fuel. And it's not just you and me filling up at the gas tank. Yes, there's the fertilizer cost, but what about the diesel that they need to run things? You're getting near planting season. Some folks have already booked fertilizer, etc. But it was sort of like this was already an uphill climb, and now you've made it even worse. Mm-hmm. Now, does that reflect against the president, the party that has the thin majorities? Can't tell you that. I can just tell you it's not a very optimistic mood. Now, in terms of your other point, and I thought about this during a break today, knowing that we would hopefully get a chance to chat. Usually, when a commander-in-chief is about to do something, they sort of prepare the American people for it.
Yeah.
You had the State of the Union message, Matt. You had the perfect opportunity. And there were a few little comments here and there, but they were lost in the political blood feud with the Democrats. Just completely lost. Any preview of what might come in the Middle East was completely lost. And I would dare say there really wasn't one to begin with. I don't think standing in front of the Truth Social camera in the middle of the night with a ball cap on substitutes for an Oval Office address where you lay things out very concretely. Okay, so how did we first hear about all of this? The president posted on his social media. Okay, yeah, fair. But ever since, right, where is the selling point to the American people? And I'm not seeing it. Now, it might be because the commander-in-chief is not the best person to make the case without straying off topic. And because that's been the problem so far. And I, please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is the administration, quote unquote, was laying out various rationales. Mm-hmm. And then the president would come out and blow those out of the water. And contradict some of them, etc. So there's not consistent messaging. Is it true that you could have multiple valid reasons for doing what you did at the time you did? Yes. But when you have all of this scattershot and you get the inconsistency of the president saying, I think I forced Israel into this. Completely the opposite of what your own people had said. That's not helpful when you're trying to sell it as, body bags are coming home, as they are in my state of Iowa.
And in Minnesota as well.
Okay.
I will say this. Okay, so you and I have been around the block a few times on this stuff.
Yep.
If you have a justification, there's your lead. Here, we intercepted intelligence that there was a missile attack that was going to come in on our bases in Riyadh, our bases in Dubai, our bases in Kuwait. This was definitive. We knew it was going to happen. We knew the order was there. We had to act. The fact that they haven't done that, and it doesn't seem, and I'll go with Rubio over Trump, it does seem as if probably Israel said, we've got a chance to take out the major leadership of the Iranians. We're going to do it. You are either with us or against us. And you get guys like Hegseth who think we're on a crusade, for God's sakes, and, just are fantasizing about, shooting missiles at things and thinking that that's going to make up for Dad's lack of hugs. But, you've got this situation where it's everyone else has got their own agenda, and there doesn't seem to be that initial motivation, that initial justification. And that's, you and I both know, if that existed, that would have led.
I have heard so many different things, like we had intelligence they were going to preemptively strike against our bases. Okay, only heard that once. Haven't really seen that supported in any way. Haven't even seen briefings of Republican congressional leaders who would then come before the camera and say, I can't tell you what I saw, but trust me, it's there. We're not seeing that. Okay.
Well, and if I can step in really quick, when you said the congressional leaders, when the congressional leaders are saying when they're getting briefing, there is no plan, there's no justification to do this, and there doesn't seem to be any plan in place on what we're freaking doing at this point.
Well, and that's the point, is that what precipitated this level of action at this time? And if the answer is we had intelligence that our bases were going to be bombed preemptively, okay. But you haven't sold it to the people who have top secret clearance who could then say, trust me, that didn't happen. Okay, so Israel was going to do it, and we want to be, there's no light between us and Israel. Just say that. It may not sell, but just say that. And in terms of the plan, unfortunately, we're in a video game society to where it's like we want to see it say game over and be done. And that's not how it really works in the real world, number one. Number two, you've got to have some sense of what you're trying to accomplish. And when the answer is, well, I don't know who's going to run it. We just got the next layer of them too. Okay, are we just going to keep going until we get somebody with a zip code that is different? That's one of the difficult things, is that without that level of determination, and you can't say this is what's going to happen, A, B, C, D with specificity. How about just a broad parameter? How about just something other than we knew we were, it's sort of like, let's get a puppy. What a great idea. And then you get the dog home and you have no idea who's going to care for it. That's sort of where you're at right now, I think.
Well, okay, you and I have talked about Iran multiple times. I don't see any way on the planet you're going to take over and have meaningful regime change without troops on the ground. I mean, you're going to have to be. And we've already seen what the difference between Venezuela and Iran is. Iran's been waiting for this. Venezuela wasn't necessarily expecting the military to come flying in there. The Iranians have been planning on this happening. So that means you're going to be there. They're trying to arm the Kurds up in the northern region. I mean, that's a minority at best. I mean, they're not going to be the fighting force that takes down the Iranian government and the Iranian people. And there are sectarian groups within Iran, some of them somewhat supportive of the United States, some of them, a lot of them not. And some of them are even far worse than what we had in place beforehand. There's just on the planet you're going to be able to do this without having people on the ground.
Well, use your Venezuela example. The idea was get rid of the one person and see what happens. And what happened was people who very quickly switched loyalty to save their own skin. Now, how's that going to turn out long term? Who knows? But at the moment, well, probably not. But at the moment, there's a level of stability. This is a different situation. They talked about, well, the next group up, we can talk to them. Okay, then first, stop killing them. But second, but then what? And you've got a different situation in terms of the people in the streets, et cetera. I'm fine with the concept of, all right, we got rid of the people who were keeping you down. Now it's your turn to rise up. Okay, but are they equipped to do it? And that's the struggle right now. And would they, to your point, be equipped to do it without that additional commitment? And I mean, that's the tricky part at this juncture, is it not?
One of the things that I have seen on some international news sites are massive crowds mourning the loss of the leaders of Iran, which is not something you're seeing here. We just basically see pictures of bombed out buildings. We also have a school that was hit, more than likely by a U.S. missile. 175 people killed, a lot of them young girls. Even if you get people on the ground who are supportive of the U.S., and clearly there are people there, you start killing schools full of kids, that has a tendency of attrition to your support groups within that country, because this group of clowns that are running this thing just don't seem to understand that.
Well, and let's talk about support at home. When you hear 3 planes are shot down by Kuwaitis in a friendly fire incident, and of course I've heard people say, how do we know that was an accident? Okay, that's a lovely level of trust. But again, you're not going to have that kind. And that one turned out, thank God, okay, in terms of no loss of life.
The pilots jumped out. Yeah, got out.
But, I mean, that's not going to help in terms of support at home. And I can only imagine this war powers debate going on in Washington as we speak. Oh, that's bring your popcorn stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and we have this boat that was just sunk off of Sri Lanka. And I brought this up earlier. Mm-hmm. It clearly seems the entire point of the U.S. Navy at that point was just to let all these people drown, which kind of is, okay, if that's the standard you're setting forward, that's not, I mean, there's a reason we have international laws. You can surface your sub, go over, get the 32 survivors the Sri Lankans now have, who I guarantee you are not about to give them to the United States. They're going to basically, you can save those people and then prisoners of war. That's how it operates. This whole idea of, like the Venezuelan, fishermen that they basically blasted out of the water and said, well, they'll just eventually die. You set this standard. This is going to have repercussions when our troops get into harm's way.
It's not a video game.
It's not.
And I think that's just really the way. And I heard somebody today talking about, well, soon we'll be prosecuting wars from air-conditioned rooms. And I get the idea of remoteness and all that. It's not a video game. Mom's not going to call you to dinner and you just hit pause and come back later. And unfortunately, there's a whole mentality that either is not willing to accept it or doesn't understand it.
Well, and there's that whole mentality of, if you don't understand what you're about to do when you torpedo a boat and you're about to kill a whole bunch of people, if you don't understand that, then you should not be in charge of that boat. You should not be there, because you're taking human lives, and that should factor. Yeah. If you can stick around,
I can't. I'm going to have to do the job they pay me for. I apologize, sir.
Text me how much the Chapter 12 situation down in Iowa. I want to hear about that. Because Chapter 12 is a special is bankruptcies for farmers. It's skyrocketed here in Minnesota. I want to hear, since you talked to some bankers down there, I'd love to get their thoughts on the Chapter 12 situation. All right?
I will do that, sir.
Thank you very much. Jeff Stein, kind enough to join us for a little bit from some place where there's lots of ag stuff. The Unidome. which was also my dancing name back in college. All righty. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hi, this is Frank Brown with Minuteman Press Uptown. It's election season. If you're campaigning for a candidate, your outreach needs top quality union printed materials, from direct mail and yard signs to door hangers, buttons, t-shirts, and flyers. Minuteman Uptown is your union shop to get people to the polls. We print everything. We'll keep your candidate top of mind. Target your message with a laser focus and maximize your voter turnout efforts. Get started today at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit marytinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. Of course, on BAM, Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co. That's blueamp.co on Substack. And, of course, here on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, it is the Matt McNeil Show for your Wednesday. And once again, Short Stein today. Short Stein, but he's out there, polishing the sorghum. I don't know what it is. I don't know what those Iowa freaks are about. If you're wondering why I asked him about the Chapter 12 stuff, and I'll get into this really quick before I get back to some things about Iran. The Chapter 12 is a special kind of bankruptcy. Most of us know Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Chapter 12 is for farmers. And Chapter 12 bankruptcies are, they're different, and they allow farmers different options to kind of get out of the bankruptcy issue. In Minnesota, I had a story last week where we talked about the shocking rise of Chapter 12 bankruptcies. I think it was a 300% increase from the year before. Interesting to find out how that's going in Iowa. And so once he gets that information back to me, I'll make sure I bring that stuff up at some point here, 952-946-6205. So an interesting article here. The following litany of lies reveals how Trump is responsible for fueling a war in the Middle East. Lie number one, Trump has said consistently that he opposes and would never involve the U.S. in regime change and nation building, called it a proven absolute failure. Reality under Trump in 2025-26, the U.S. sought regime change in both Venezuela and Iran by attacking both nations and deposing their leaders. Former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was captured and brought to the U.S. to face criminal charges. Trump stating that the U.S. would run the country until a stable government could be formed. Iran Supreme Leader Khamenei was killed in the U.S. attack on Iran, with Trump urging the Iranian people to rise up and oust the theocratic regime. So once again, this idea that we're not for regime change, well, no, he's basically, there's a lot to him right now. And I brought up the Crusades earlier, that apparently multiple military leaders, when they were speaking to their troops about this, made this into that God and Trump are riding into battle on golden horses, and that Jesus will deliver the Iranian people to Christianity, sort of thing. That there is a real freaking Crusades tone to the military right now in this country, that this is all about not even regime change. It's about basically forcing Christianity on these people, which is some, but Trump has already shown that he's already going back in the history books as well with this idea of it's time to conquer, other peoples and take over the country. I mean, right now, the United States is basically running Venezuela. And by the way, Venezuela is going to be a piece of cake to run compared to Iran. And I mean, and trust me, I don't think the Israelis want the day-to-day operations of Iran. They just want all the people dead in Iran. They just want all the people that they feel are a threat to them dead. So now that it's Colin Powell. Speaking of time machines, Colin Powell, you break it, you bought it. Well, we broke in Iran, and now we're buying it because, if we walk away from it, it's more likely going to be end up in something worse than what they had before. See Afghanistan. The lie number 2. After the bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities in 2025, Trump said that the U.S. had obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities, completely destroyed their enrichment program. The reality of the bombing of the nuclear facilities did not destroy Iran's nuclear enrichment. The U.S. Defense Agency report concluded that the strikes set back the program 3 to 6 months, but they had a bunch of uranium that was enriched up to 60%, which, by the way, is not, and I think they'll touch on this as well in this story, it wasn't enough to make nuclear weapons. It has to be 90% to be nuclear weapon ready. It wasn't even close. It would have taken them a long time to get there. But they said they had nukes. They were ready to use them. That's just not true. 3, Trump claimed Iran was actively building nuclear weapons. And this is a pretext of enabling this. Once again, the false justification that they had a nuclear weapon for attacking Iran mirror justification for the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003 based on a falsehood that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, which they didn't. But, of course, that didn't stop the entire W. Bush administration from coming out and saying, mushroom clouds everywhere. And reminder, they even tricked Colin Powell into walking into a hearing holding a vial of something they said was a weapon a weapon to be used against the United States and a weapon of mass destruction. And it probably was just a jar of sand. But they convinced Colin Powell that that's what it was. Remember that. Wow. Trump said the massive U.S. military buildup in the Middle East was intended to pressure Iran to negotiate a nuclear agreement with diplomacy preferred over force. Trump's purpose in authorizing the massive military buildup in the Middle East was obvious to employ it. So, it's, hey, we're not going to use all the guns that we've got pointed at you right now at all. The reality is that they were, it was absolutely about, trying to intimidate them and force them. And by the way, it should be noted that the Iranians that can speak on authority about it on Friday were under the idea that there was going to be an agreement. I think Israel, once again, not Israel, Netanyahu. I think Netanyahu got wind that there was going to be an agreement. He said, no, I want them all dead. And then he basically pushed the United States, and that Benjamin Netanyahu is making our foreign policy decisions for us right now, which is scary. Trump claimed that he preferred resolving the issue with Iran's nuclear program through negotiations and diplomacy. He never intended to negotiate in good faith. He clearly didn't. If you're starting to bomb them, that's not good faith. That's bombing them. Trump knew the U.S.'s red line negotiating position that Iran could enrich no uranium after having enriched it for decades for domestic nuclear power would never be accepted. Also, the U.S. attacked the Iran halfway through Trump's stated 2-month negotiating window. So, yeah, it kind of is empty there. Trump claimed the U.S. attacked Iran because it was a threat to America and the American people. Iran poses absolutely zero threat to America. First, it has no nuclear weapons capability, lacks long-range missiles to reach the U.S. mainland. Secondly, if it even developed such missiles, attacking a country with the most powerful military in the world would ensure Iran's annihilation, so it was never a threat. And finally, Trump claimed U.S. citizens were safer today due to the attack on Iran. Since Iran posed no threat to the U.S., the attack on Iran didn't make the U.S. citizens any safer. Instead, it made them less safe through Iranian retaliatory bombings of U.S. military bases, and God forbid we start getting sleeper cells in the United States. And it goes on and on. I'll post that story a little bit later on. Needless to say, it's all a lie, and there's no goal, and there's no justification. And as Stein said, and he is absolutely spot on, it's clear there's a lot of people in the administration that are treating this like it's a freaking video game, and that is terrifying. A Christian video game. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 2, bam, hour 2 up next.
Greg Bakken here. I'm on a mission with Eat Local Minnesota to take you to some of the best local restaurants serving unforgettable dishes. Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville is the Twin Cities go-to for mouth-watering roast beef sandwiches, but that's just the beginning. Try their Philly steak, turkey bacon avocado, BLT, crispy chicken, fish brisket, or pulled pork. Every bite is packed with flavor. Don't miss this local favorite See the full menu at mavericksbeef.com. Your taste buds will thank you. Or how about some sensational Chinese cuisine? Since 1981, the Great Wall has been a Twin Cities favorite for Szechuan and Peking cuisine. Their menu is huge, flavorful, and consistently excellent. My go-to dishes are the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and their famous Peking duck. You'll find the Great Wall at 45th and France with takeout available. Visit greatwallrestaurant.us. These are just a couple of great restaurants Minnesota has to offer. I'll be sharing more with you soon. And remember, when you eat local, Minnesota.
Hi, Matt McNeil here. You're listening to the best progressive radio in Minnesota. It's AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Iran war expanded farther today. A U.S. submarine sinking an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean, while U.S. and Israeli forces intensified their bombardment of Iran's security forces. President Trump offered this assessment.
Missiles are being wiped out rapidly. Their launchers are being wiped out. They're attacking their neighbors. They're attacking their, in some cases, allies, or not so long ago allies. And, you know, it's really a nation that was out of control, and they would have used it on us if we let them, if we waited any longer.
Meanwhile, Israel's warned residents of southern Lebanon to evacuate as airstrikes around Beirut intensify and Hezbollah reports more attacks. Malak Harb has more from Beirut.
The Israeli military has ordered the evacuation of dozens of villages and towns, calling residents to move north of the Litani River. This announcement comes as Israeli strikes continued over Lebanon, of which one hit a hotel in a quiet Beirut suburb. The Hezbollah militant group, for the first time since this latest conflict between the two sides, said that it launched a precision-guided missile into Israel. The conflict in Lebanon has rapidly escalated since Hezbollah fired rockets into Israel after U.S. and Israeli strikes over Iran killed Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, the group's key patron. Tens of thousands in this tiny country have been displaced, and the Israeli military is not ruling out a ground invasion into southern Lebanon. The Lebanese government has condemned Hezbollah strikes into Israel that sparked this latest conflict and are scrambling for de-escalation.
Congress's first vote on the conflict's drawing near, with senators debating a war powers resolution this afternoon. The House also to take up a similar bill later this week. And on Wall Street, stocks rebounded as oil prices settled. The Dow rose 238 points, about 0.5%. The S&P gained 0.8%, while the Nasdaq climbed 1.3%. This is AP News.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example.
Hey, Francois, have you made any New Year's resolutions?
No.
Well, mine is to learn some French. Can you help me?
Bien sûr.
How do you say this? Can I buy you?
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter
Macaroons from Nicolette's.
des macarons de Nicolette's?
Now, say it all at once.
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter des macarons de Nicolette's?
Oh, absolutely. I have a box of raspberry rose, blueberry cheesecake, and chocolate.
Mais c'est quoi ça?
Thank you, Francois. You can order them online at nicoletsmacaroons.com or visit their store in Plymouth. Merci.
Families, get ready for Dinosaur World Live, a thrilling interactive show at Children's Theater Company March 3rd through April 5th. This hit show is the perfect blend of science, storytelling, and spectacular live theater. These remarkably lifelike dinosaurs move, they roar, and yes, the mighty T-Rex towers before your eyes. This is edge-of-your-seat excitement, followed by the chance to meet a dinosaur up close. Dinosaur World Live opens March 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie, it's Alex with Buzz Cut Mowing. Why wake up early, freeze, and shovel snow when I can handle it for you? I provide fast, reliable snow removal so your driveway and sidewalks stay clear, safe, and stress-free all winter long. Relax, enjoy your morning coffee, and let me do the heavy lifting. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today and make this winter easier, warmer, and worry-free with Buzz Cut Mowing, because nobody likes shoveling snow.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 54. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 36. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 53. Dinosaur World is taking over Children's Theater Company for an immersive tour where you can feel the roar. Get ready to face off against a massive T-Rex and see what it feels like to get sneezed on by a Triceratops at Dinosaur World. Dinosaur World runs through April 5th, and you can find tickets and more info at childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Good to have you with us here today. Matt and Patrick here. No guest today at this hour, but I do have to say we have two pair, count them, two pair of tickets to go see Men on Boats, the irreverent retelling of an expedition on the Colorado River in the 19th century by white European men, but none of the parts are played by white European men. This is going to be happening over at the Capri Theater on Saturday and Sunday. You'll have your choice at going to either the Saturday 2 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. or the Sunday 2 p.m. show at the Capri Theater. We'll be giving away those tickets a little bit later on this hour, so listen for your chance to call on in and win those tickets. All right, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I have to tell you, I am 57 years old, and it's been a few years now where I've gone and I've done the thing where I'll get a bruise and realize, well, that's going to be part of my body now for a month and a half, because that's what it is. I'm an older person. Now, I try to stay physically active. I run 3 times a week. I weight train twice a week. I walk a lot. As a matter of fact, I did on Saturday, I did 10 miles total walking. I was like, my legs were sore. But I kind of do these things. I try to stay in shape and try to stay active, and that's kind of the goal I have. I'm at a point, though, where I am injuring myself in the lamest ways possible. I slept on my back weird, and I can barely stand up right now. I am dead serious. As a matter of fact, I just leaned back in my chair, and my lower back is twitching like freaking crazy from sleeping. That's great. Just great. Oh God. Yeah, it's part of it. And I understand this is, to anybody who's older than me, they're like looking and going, oh, you think it's bad now. I know. But yeah, I was doing fine. It's starting to, it happened a few days ago, and then I got up this morning and I took one step. I'm like, I am at that point where it's just, it's my body has said, it's been a good run. I mean, and it's not everything. It's just like, of 10 of my fingers, one of them is just starting to, what? No, I'm tired of this, that sort of thing. So I'm hoping. I went to the gym today, and I just kind of basically turned around and I went back home. And I said, yeah, I'm pushing this too hard. So I'm doing the heat pad and the icing, kind of going back and forth. I'm hoping that I'll be okay. But man, aging is an interesting thing. And obviously I think I'm not the first person to say this. As I get older, I understand the generations that came before me better and better and better. So it hurts sometimes. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Hey, by the way, quick question for you, Patrick. When Stein was saying that he said a 40% increase on gas, do you see anything like that?
I have not paid attention. I don't think I've driven by a gas station in a few days. I haven't needed gas. So
yeah, you don't notice it until you need it. And sort of one of those things. So yeah, I thought it was up like 10 cents, but it didn't seem to be that much. Yeah. So 952-946-6205. So, all right. I am going to bring up the names of the first 4 people who were killed in combat in Iran, including, for the people in the Twin Cities, a local woman, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore was one of 6 U.S. service members killed in an attack by which the Pentagon identified 3 other soldiers with her. These are the first 4 that passed away. Captain Cody Cork, Khork, 35, of Winter Haven, Florida. Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, 42, of Bellevue, Nebraska. And we heard Jeff Stein mention there was one from Iowa as well. Declan Cody, Coady, 20 years old, of West Des Moines, Iowa. Who was, by the way, posthumously promoted from specialist to sergeant after he was killed in that attack. 2 other soldiers have not been named as of right now. I'm a veteran. Trust me when I say that I one of the things that I have always been proud of being a veteran is that you basically have people who their job, they're trained very well. You basically send them into harm's way. You tell them to jump, they say how high, and the only thing they ask is that you are sending them under good faith. And that unfortunately remains to be seen right now. It always is hard for me in regards to this, because having been there, and I was in the first Gulf War, served in the military in the first Gulf War. Having been in this, and there were, being around people units that lost, service members, and units that had service members injured. It is a hard thing to talk about for me, because it does hit home. I can see the family members. I can see mom and dad who are proud that their child went off and entered in. And in the case of when you're talking about the ranks of some of these, when you're sergeant first class, these are career guys. These are non-commissioned officers. They're there for 12, 13, 14 years. They're making a career out of serving this country. And, some of them obviously can be reservists and stuff like that. Depends on the situation. But these are people who have been around, and they have been part of this, not for a small bit of time, but for a long part of their lives. And it's part of the deal, is that you make that decision to enter in, and it kind of hits you all of a sudden. It's like, oh, now I understand what I'm supposed to do here. No matter the conflict that you're talking about, and one of the things I've always been, it's very interesting to read about for me, is whether it's the Civil War or World War I or World War II or Vietnam, the number of times that a commanding officer has to make that order and say, we're going in, knowing that not everyone's going to come on back. And that's something that hits hard. And it's kind of one of those things where I've read about General William T. Sherman, possibly the greatest military leader this country ever devised. And him breaking Georgia over his knee, that's good times. That's the happy stories we read at the holidays right there. He he talked about he was almost haunted for the rest of his life. Whenever a soldier showed up at his door, he always welcomed him in, gave him a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or sat down and said, how you doing? Because he understood what he was doing. How many of those people that he sent into battle, that he commanded, that did not make it back? If you go to the Civil War, you go to Gettysburg. And for me, I've talked about this before, and the charge of the first Minnesota 1st Infantry that went in, and 300 Minnesotans took on 5,000 Southerners and held the field. And those are the flags we have at the state capitol, the Southern flags we captured that day, of a unit that suffered the greatest loss of casualties in the history of this country. And the unit still stood at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, Minnesota, of all states, Minnesota saved the Union at the Civil War, because if they wouldn't have held, the Union lines would have collapsed, and they did their job. And when you're looking at an 80+% loss of life, it hits you hard. And the second largest memorial at Gettysburg is the Minnesota Memorial. Second only to the Pennsylvania Memorial, obviously, because of a lot of the Pennsylvania boys that were there fighting. But it always hurts, because they're not just a number. They're human beings with families. And we need to remember that. A U.S. soldier killed in an Iranian drone strike at command center in Kuwait on Sunday was just days away from returning home to her family. This according to her grieving husband. Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, was almost home, her widower, Joey Moore, said on Tuesday. You don't go to Kuwait thinking something's going to happen, and for her to be one of the first, it hurts. Moore, 39, was an avid gardener who enjoyed making salsa with her son, a senior in high school, from the peppers and tomatoes in her own garden. She also enjoyed rollerblading and bicycling with her 4th grade daughter. A week before the drone attack, Moore was moved off base to a shipping container-style building that had no defenses, her husband said. They were dispersing because they were in fear that the base they were on was going to be attacked, and they felt it was safer in small groups in separate places. He last spoke to her about 2 hours before she was killed and said she was working long shifts and they had been messaging about their tripping and falling the night before. She'd never responded, though, in the morning. I don't know what her commanding officers thought of her. I can tell you right now, Pete Hegseth didn't think about her. He didn't. I can tell that guy. You can look at, as a vet, I can look at that guy and tell him he doesn't give a rat's caboose about her or any of the other people that have died, nor does Trump. He don't care. He's already labeled veterans who died in combat losers. He's already done that. He doesn't care that this is a mom with a child who they did a lot of fun things together, it sounds like. And she served our country. And she served our country not just for Trump, but clearly with her rank through all these administrations. This is a tragic loss for everyone, her family, who my deepest condolences, and as an American, my deepest thanks for the greatest sacrifice your family can make for this country. I truly am grateful for what you have burdened, and for her sacrifice serving this country. To the state of Minnesota, who's lost another one of our members, and to this country, where the military is not supposed to be swearing allegiance to a president, but to a constitution and to an ideal. When I was in the military, I did not serve the president of the United States at that point. I served the Constitution. Trump, the same man who ordered all the flags in the country lowered when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, so far has not ordered the flags lowered for the Sergeant First Class, the other 3 victims of this attack, and then the other 2 who have also died. The flags are not getting lowered for them. But Charlie Kirk, sure. Charlie Kirk. Yeah, the flags are lowered for him, but not for these people. Not for these people who have made the great sacrifice for this country. I salute you. I salute you. And I thank you. I will say I have always said the same thing when it comes to the military and for politicians. And I will say this again, and I'll say the whole thing because some of this doesn't necessarily apply here, but I've always said this. I don't care who you are, but the politicians that are out there, there are 4 tentpole things I, as a veteran, would love to see you champion. And if any of you champion this, then I would support you. And I've actually had 2 politicians that got pretty close, Al Franken and Tim Walz. No Republican has come close to, going for this. But those two basically said, yeah, I support those things. Number one, any soldier that serves in the military, they get injured, they have a military or army or service-related injury, they can get seen at any medical facility in this country. It should be part of the licensing of every medical facility, from the most largest hospitals in the inner cities to the most glamorous boutiques in the suburbs, that you have to see military people or else you don't get a license. That's number one. They can go to the medical facility that's closest to them to get the treatment that they need. You cannot deny them that. Number two, job training and college for all people that serve, that suffer from an injury while they served in the military. Absolutely. And of course, obviously, for anyone that serves, 20 years, by all means, give them full rides. Any public university, you got to give them college or job training if it's a trade school. 3, job placement. And the most important one, and the one that applies here, is the fourth one, which is this, that you need to streamline that Veterans Administration down to where the benefits that a soldier has earned are paid out and delivered as quickly and with as little hassle as possible. And not only does that include for the soldiers that come back, but it includes especially for the family members who have given the greatest sacrifice they can for this country, the loss of their loved one in military service. That there should be no hurdles or hoops or anything for this family ever again for them to get the benefits that have been earned by their loss. Make it happen. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie, it's Alex with Buzz Cut Mowing. Why wake up early, freeze, and shovel snow when I can handle it for you? I provide fast, reliable snow removal so your driveway and sidewalks stay clear, safe, and stress-free all winter long. Relax, enjoy your morning coffee, and let me do the heavy lifting. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today and make this winter easier, warmer, and worry-free with Buzz Cut Mowing, because nobody likes shoveling snow.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward, spells the same. Zero Res.
Are you planning a gathering for your family, friends, or work? Then reserve space at the Park Tavern. The Park Tavern offers private and semi-private spaces, and they can accommodate any size party, large or small. They have bowling, food, and beverage packages for any budget. And remember, there are no room fees and no minimum spending requirements. And for more information or to schedule an event, call 952-929-6810 or go to parktavern.net. Make your next get-together the best get-together with help from the Park Tavern.
Hi, this is Frank Brown with Minuteman Press Uptown. It's election season. If you're campaigning for a candidate, your outreach needs top quality union printed materials. From direct mail and yard signs to door hangers, buttons, T-shirts, and flyers, Minuteman Uptown is your union shop to get people to the polls. We print everything. We'll keep your candidate top of mind, target your message with a laser focus, and maximize your voter turnout efforts. Get started today at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
How'd you get so low? Feeding that bad buzz in your head.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Once again, follow me on the Substack page. You can go to Matt McNeil Show on Substack and Blue Sky. It is Matt McNeil Show over there as well. Facebook, Matt McNeil Show, Progressive Citizen X. And on the threads, it is Matthew McNeil 1. 952-946-6205. Let's give away some tickets right now. Men on Boats is playing over the Capri Theater on Saturday and Sunday. I've got a pair of tickets. You can choose the show you want to go to, either 2 o'clock on Saturday, 7:30 on Saturday, or 2 p.m. on Sunday at the Capri Theater. Of course, Men on Boats, a relevant retelling of the expedition of the Colorado River, but instead of white European men, none of the cast is white European men. Once again, the Capri Theater on Saturday and Sunday, 2, 7:30, or 2 p.m. on Sunday. Your call, which one of the show you want to go to, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5. Caller number 5, you will win yourself a pair of tickets. Enjoy that show. Good luck. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. It's time for conservative comedy once again. That's an oxymoron. Conservative comedy doesn't really exist. But some guy that thought he was being hilarious has to apologize because he wished for a death threat on Governor Tim Walz. A conservative talk radio host has now apologized for a post he made on social media in which he called for the military to kill the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Dan O'Donnell, the afternoon host on the iHeartMedia-owned News Talk 1130 WISN, posted about Walz in the wake of the U.S. and Israeli military strikes and resulted in the killing of an Iranian leader on Saturday. Now take out the supreme leader of Minnesota. We will be greeted as liberators, wrote O'Donnell in the since-deleted post. He then shared an AI-generated image of Governor Tim Walz dressed in a black turban with the caption, "Death to the fraud investigations." So, yeah, first of all, no. Okay, putting aside that we've just had a heavy-handed military force kill Renee Good and Alex Preddy in the city, and trying to move past the idea that we just had the Democratic Speaker of the House murdered with her husband by a right-wing extremist, and then a state senator and his wife shot, thankfully they survived, by that same right-wing extremist. And there's other threats going on. I'll get to one here in a second. I just talked last week about the guy that threatened Glenn Grunhagen. Glenn Grunhagen is not a liberal. He's only one of those conservative people. That's not good. You cannot stop this. No one should be threatening anybody at this point. And you, a radio professional, you suck. I got this zinger. I got this zinger because everybody in Minnesota wishes he was gone. No, we like him. We've elected him twice. And the Democrats are going to sweep through this state again this election season. So, wrong. But hey, you got to put out your death threat fantasy. Because at the end of the day, you don't write something like that unless down deep inside your warped, twisted soul, you really think, God, it'd be so great if somebody just shot him and got him out of the way. I mean, that's what the kind of person that writes stuff like this. Anyway, someone obviously got to him. It's like, hey, everybody. I want to take a moment to offer my sincerest apologies for a post I made about Minnesota governor that, quite frankly, I am deeply ashamed of. It was irresponsible and completely inappropriate, and I have since taken it down, he wrote, aka, if that doesn't read HR, I don't know which does. It served to only deepen divisions at the time when unity and basic human decency are the most needed. My primary responsibility as a broadcaster, as a father, and as a person who's always comport myself professionally, appropriately, and compassionately, and I failed to do that again, I am truly, deeply, unequivocally sorry. So I think this was a serious violation from HR. They must have given him a letter in triplicate or something. No, it's not cool to do this. It's not. It's not a funny joke. It's not hilarious. And once again, here is another case where all the people on the right go, so much for the tolerant left. And yet, once again, here is someone from the right with a death fantasy being put out about Tim Walz. Currently a time of heightened risk of political violence. O'Donnell's post come less than a year after leading Minnesota DFL legislator Melissa Hortman, a close friend of Walz, was assassinated along with her husband and a gunman who allegedly held deep religious and conservative views. It was reported this week that the Minnesota House Speaker, current one, the Republican one, Lisa Demuth, had been receiving end-of-violent threats relating to the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in Minnesota and efforts to withhold federal funding to defraud allegations. No! That is wrong, too. Nobody should be threatening anybody. I can disagree with these people. Trust me. Listen to the show. I can disagree with them, and I think they're horrible for some of their opinions they take, but I don't want anyone hurt. I don't want anyone attacked. I don't want anyone killed. And frankly, for anyone to come up with that kind of sick, twisted, broken mentality thinking, I'm going to make this post and it's going to be hilarious. Trust me, when I've got social media pages, there are times people will say things that are inappropriate. I block them. I block the post. It doesn't have a point. It does not have a point. So, once again, can I just make a plea to the conservatives? And I will say this, but the individual that went out there, no, we do not threaten anybody with threats. Do not. Don't threaten Glenn Grudhagen, Lisa Demuth. Do not threaten anybody. But the one thing I can say about this guy is how many Republicans have gotten in touch with him privately and said, I thought it was hilarious, man. Because I guarantee you that number is probably not zero. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show once again here on your Wednesday.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
What if I told you that toxic pesticides from crop seeds and lawns have spread all over Minnesota's lands and water, devastating wildlife and posing risks to our health? Well, it's true. But a coalition of Minnesota farmers, community members, anglers, and more are taking action to protect our state from neurotoxic pesticides. To learn more and get involved, visit cleanerseed.org. That's cleanerseed.org. And tune to Food Freedom Radio.
Are you tired of hearing how white European men discovered everything? Then 10,000 Things Theater's production of Men on Boats by Jacqueline Backhouse is for you. It features a cast of the people the first expedition to the Grand Canyon in 1869 left out, running February 19th through March 15th at 4 different locations, starting with Open Book in Minneapolis. Contact 10,000things.org. That's 10,000things.org.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Step into Forts, a fort-building wonderland at Children's Theater Company through April 5th. Theatrical elements, evolving light and soundscapes, and towers of cardboard boxes set the scene for creative play. Build the tallest fort, the longest fort, or tons of cozy little forts. Design a castle or a neighborhood. Your imagination leads the way as you play freely and create shared stories together in real life. Forts at CTC through April 5th. Spring break weekdays available. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Overnight patchy fog with a low of 36, and Thursday sunshine with a high of 54. Get your exquisite, elegant box of French macarons from Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Nicolette's is conveniently located off Highway 169 and 36th Avenue. Stop in at the store or order your box online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Good to be with you here on BAM, the Blue Amp Media Network at blueamp.co on Substack, and of course on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Hey, let's give away. I got once again another pair of tickets to give away right now to go see Men on Boats. This is over at the Capri Theater. It's for either Saturday or Sunday. It's 2 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Sunday at 2 p.m. Men on Boats at the Capri Theater. Call number 5 as well, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's give away that pair as well. Good luck. You can go see the show for free this weekend, courtesy of us here at AM 950. Once again, Men at Boats over at the Capri Theater, either Saturday or Sunday. And like I said, call number 5. You'll win those tickets. So good luck with that. 952-946-6205. All right. So I rip on the Star Tribune a lot here in town because, yeah, they are worthy of being ripped on. They really are. Sometimes they don't do a very good job at all. But it doesn't mean that there aren't some good people that are over there. I've always been a big fan of Brianna Bierschbach, who's a great writer over there. And, of course, Susan Dew, I'm a big fan of hers. She's been always a good writer as well. She covers the city beat. Brianna covers politics over there. I will also say my cousin Joy is the food writer, one of the food writers over there. So, yeah, I've got fans that are over there. But, still, you guys have got some editorial decisions that you need to work on. But that all being said, Rochelle Olson is another author over there, and she is quite good. And she wrote a kind of an opinion piece on this about the shooting, the testimony by the family members of the Annunciation Catholic Church shooting, and the desire to get any kind of common sense gun regulation in place in Minnesota. And you can already see where this cab is going with its doors wide open. Reading from her piece here, Annunciation Catholic School, 8th grader Lydia Kaiser's dark blonde hair is now a long pixie, a vestige of the hair shaving necessitating from her 2 life-saving brain injuries after she was shot in the head last August. Lydia was at the state capitol last week to lobby for gun safety bills that would limit the sale of assault weapon-style rifles and high-capacity magazines. All right. Her message was a simple plea for life. Elected officials have a duty to protect us from guns. No one should have to go through what we went through at Annunciation, she said. No argument here. Absolutely. And I'm reading from that article, and I agree with it. You have a responsibility to save us from troubles. And the same Republican Party that without a shred of an ounce of evidence will claim that they have to outlaw all drag queen story hours because something might be going on and we've got to protect the kids. That same group of people can see kids piled up dead because of gun violence and say, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. And you could do something tomorrow. Lydia's father, Harry Kaiser, an Annunciation gym teacher, offered painful, compelling detail as he testified to a House committee. So this is actually to the House committee that voted about seeing Lydia wounded and bleeding, but speaking and headed toward him moments after the attack commenced. I prayed. Now, once again, this isn't a church. This is, once again, the first thing that conservatives, when they talk about, a shooting, they say thoughts and prayers. They were praying in a church. And this happened. and that doesn't phase you. Children in a church. Nope. I'm giving you a foreshadowing of what's happening. Nope. He said, I prayed, God, don't let me see her get shot again right in front of me, Kaiser recalled. Brittany Haig has repeatedly and patiently detailed the ongoing recovery journey of her 6-year-old son, David. David endures nightmares, panic attacks, hours of physicians' waiting rooms, therapy sessions, and the prospect of more surgeries. His mother pleaded with lawmakers to move beyond their rehearsed positions and to remember the children for whom this policy is not an abstract. Well stated. Harper Moisky, 10-year-old's parents, her parents, Jackie Flavin and Mike Moisky, said the damage to their daughter's body was so severe that they were not allowed to see or hold what remained. They had to conduct a second cremation when additional remains were found in the sanctuary during the cleanup. That was done to that child not by a hammer, not by a pipe, not by a piece of wood, not by a knife. It was done by an assault weapon designed for military combat that we basically give away for free almost in this freaking country. Imagine receiving that phone call, Flavin said, and then tell me, what is this gun for? Hunting? There are other tools. Home defense? There are other tools. There is no reason for anybody to have an assault weapon. There is no reason for anybody in this country, unless you're an active duty military personnel. If you want an assault weapon, I know where you can go and serve for the time being, and they will let you go over there. By the way, we already know the people that run around as tough guys with guns in this country are freaking cowards and would never enlist to go over there and serve and actually, use their weapon in a combat zone as it was designed. Because when someone sat down with that and designed it, was designed to kill other human beings as quickly as possible. And the people that are running around acting tough are trying to make good for the fact that they are not part of that. They are not. No, they couldn't do it. She did not receive a credible answer to that question. Opponents didn't even bother offering thoughts and prayers and condolences. So I want to make sure we understand. This is a committee. That's a tied committee because that's the way the Minnesota House is right now. So half the people on that are Republicans, and not a single one of them said thoughts and prayers or anything like that. These three families detailing the horror which they went through at the Annunciation Church shooting, and it didn't even, nope. The DFL sponsors of the bills, Representative Emma Greenman of Minneapolis and Representative Brad Tabke of Shakopee, cited poll numbers to support their bills, saying that nearly 2 in 3 Minnesotans favor some sort of assault rifle ban. It is important to find ways to get to yes, Tabke said. What's more confounding is that the Republicans don't appear remotely interested in the conversation or any potential life-saving compromise. They continue to posture as if they are maligned parties, as they're the maligned parties, the real victims, not the kids. And that is the truth, that no one is more victim claiming than a Republican, where you expect me to stop this carnage. How dare you? They do not believe the real victims were the kids, the parents, or the teachers, or the doctors who had treated the casualties. Of course, Republicans do what they always do. They tossed up the Second Amendment as an unavoidable shield, which you can actually regulate the Second Amendment. That's actually been ruled by Scalia. As if a third of the nation's population currently don't live in states with restrictions on bans or bans on assault rifles. In fact, the persistence of gun violence in those states, including Illinois and California, proves that the bans don't work, they contend. The best arguments against these bills is any given weekend in Chicago, said State Representative Walter Hudson in Albertville. Once again, not addressing the fact that a person went into Annunciation Church and shot at children. Walter couldn't wait to get Chicago. Out. Smug little SOB, man. Smug. That's it. I mean, that's it. Because that's how you have to treat the victims of gun violence. Just start verbally smacking them down, telling them, hey, I'm never helping you people. Never helping you. Chicago, man. Paraphrase. The relevant issue isn't whether the violence persists in places that have adopted sensible gun measures, but rather how much greater the carnage would be without restrictions. Sadly, the opponents don't get any more insightful than Hudson in their arguments. Committee co-chairman Paul Novotny of Elk River expressed concern that the assault rifle bill might prohibit acquisition of a popular rifle used to kill squirrels. Okay, stop. Who's the freaking psychopath shooting squirrels? Seriously, what kind of deranged children are you putting out there that say, you got to go shoot those squirrels, man? You're not eating them because it's not 1870 West frickin' Virginia. Well, there's one guy that lives on a ranch 2 counties over where they like to make some squirrel stew. And unless we have assault weapons that are tearing apart Annunciation Church, well, then the anti-squirrel stew community, well, they'll get their way. That's your argument, that mentally broken people need to be able to shoot squirrels for fun? Novotny. Oh, God. I've run into this clown. This is a guy that basically was a cop, responded to another Republican House member, apparently in an abuse situation, and never said anything about it as he then eventually became a House member and knew that that person was there. And that came to light last year. Yeah, Novotny. Novotny, how many squirrels are you shooting in any given day, you psycho? Seriously, you crazed loon ball? What are you freaking doing? I can't get my trout gun out so I can shoot the trout. Dude, I have a squirrel trap, okay, that I just put a little peanut butter in. And if I have a nuisance squirrel in my yard, he gets in the trap and it closes and I've got a squirrel. Now, I don't eat them. I just take them across the highway and release them into the woods over in Edina. It's an upgrade. They're happy. I mean, it's nicer community. They get higher tree prices there, but that's where they go. I don't need to start assault weaponing the trees because there's a squirrel. Jesus, Novotny, what is wrong with you? Then comes this little special piece of beefcake. Representative Bidel Duran Jr. of Bemidji. He angrily took issue with the theatrical tone of the hearing. We're into the fear-mongering aspect of things, he said. Duran looked at family members whose children were slaughtered by a gunman in a church and called them theatrical and called it fear-mongering. I mean, what? Basically, he's like, guns. I mean, what is wrong with you, you psychopath? I thought Novotny with the squirrel gun was bad, but dude, you need to get to a counselor immediately, because if you can go to children and family members who are the victims and call them, yeah, you lost your family member and your loved one and you're living in fear. I'm tired of your theatrics. Get out of my face. What's wrong with you people? Psychopaths, man. It was unsettling to watch an elected leader work himself up and lecture grieving parents who experienced the horror of twice cremating their young daughter. Those weren't theatrics, Representative Duran. That was called real life tragedy. You effing moron. And everyone, let Duran know. You are a freaking psychopathic moron if you called the victims of Annunciation theatrical. Freaking crazed douche. Wow. Sure, some Republicans have expressed a newfound interest in addressing mental health problems upstream before shooters open fire, but they're unwilling to consider the possibility of how early intervention could work to tandem with gun and ammunition restrictions to stop the next shooter. Once again, you always hear this, we need to start working about mental health. Where's your freaking mental health bill, Republicans? Where is it? Where is it? You have been screaming mental health is your focus since Klebold and Harris in Columbine. You have been saying it is mental health you need to focus on. Where's your bill? Oh, that's right. You have no concern, and you will allow people to shoot people and kill people with no regard for human life because the guns are the only thing that matters to you. And you don't want the crazed people not getting guns because you know what? It scares people when a psychopath goes into a church and guns down children. And that means gun sales. And not only does it mean gun sales for terrified people, it means for the psychopaths who basically love you guys in the Republican Party, they want to get the exact gun that basically was used to kill those kids in Annunciation. I got that up in my wall. I'm going to show, and that finally I'm going to lose my virginity when I show that to a girl. You know, it's God. As predicted, Greenman and Tabke's proposals failed to a strict party line vote because guns. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again. But I'm bringing this story up again because I just want to make sure you soak up how horrible these Republicans are. To hear these real world, less than a year ago, examples of gun slaughter of children in a church and how angry they are, not at the slaughter, not at the carnage, but at them for not keeping your damn mouth shut and not shooting squirrels for some reason. 75% of Republican Party today, and I'm dead serious when I say this, 75% of the Republican Party today could have a loved one taken out by a deranged individual with an assault weapon. And they will take the side of the assault weapon over their own loved ones. These are broken people, and they should not be making decisions for us as the citizens of anything at all. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Wednesday.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
For delicious gourmet popcorn, Popcorn, Popped corn.com has you covered. Popped corn offers your favorite flavors ready to go. Cheese made with real cheese, their classic mix. More than 80 great flavors. Enjoy featured flavors like Shamrock Caramel and their tasty fudge and nuts. They sell their popcorn in various bag, gift box, and tin sizes, and they ship across the USA. Visit poppedcorn.com and enter in discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, Popped corn.com, and make everyone smile.
AM 950 would like to thank everyone who joined and donated during our winter membership drive. Your support shows that Minnesotans still value an independent progressive radio station that delivers facts, not spin. AM 950 is locally owned, based right here in the Twin Cities, and dedicated to uplifting small businesses and diverse communities. At a time when some voices are being pushed aside, AM 950 refuses to be silenced. Please help keep progressive radio on the air. Visit am950radio.com and donate today.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota delivers critical home repairs and safety modifications to low-income Minnesotans because everyone deserves a safe place to live, not just those who can afford it. If you've been putting off repairs because the cost feels impossible, know this. Their services come at no cost to homeowners. They focus on safe and healthy home solutions that keep older adults independent, support families, and strengthen entire neighborhoods. And there's no catch. Apply during their application window, open January 1st through March 31st, 2026, to be considered for services. When one neighbor struggles, it impacts us all. Turn to Rebuilding Together Minnesota if you need support with critical repairs or safety modifications on your home. Apply now at rtmn.org and select Apply for help. Or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. To avoid gimmicks, call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. And a lot of nice comments. I'm looking at the Blue Amp Network. A lot of nice comments out there. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for listening. Jane in North Carolina liking me. Hello. Hi, NC. 952-946-6205. Okay, so the Republicans in the state are desperately trying to get us to stop focusing on the invasion of ICE agents into our state, the murder of 2 people, the violation of civil rights, the disappearing of people, the using of children of bait. Many of those children are still missing. And the massive economic cost to this state that was incurred when the Republican Party of Minnesota begged Trump to say, attack us and beat us all. I don't know why, but they are. They're desperate to get back to the fraud thing. I think KSTP, the Channel 5 affiliate, the ABC affiliate here in town, which is pretty far right, they seem to be desperately like, just stop talking about ICE, guys. We're only talking about fraud now. We're only talking about fraud. Those people, that was a full few weeks ago. We don't need to talk about that anymore. As expected, Operation Metro Surge has shaped much of the discussion in the early days of the legislative session. In both chambers, DFL lawmakers have proposed a variety of bills seeking to contain the authority of federal immigration agents and ICE in direct response to the operations that basically attacked the state of Minnesota. And once again, the Republicans are stopping any kind of moving forward. The Senate, with the Democratic one-vote DFL majority in control of the committees, has advanced some ICE-related proposals. Several measures have already stalled out in the tied House of Representatives. It's highly unlikely things are going to get done. On Tuesday, for example, the House DFL members failed to advance 2 bills related to immigration enforcement after Republicans voted in opposition during a Public Safety Finance and Policy Committee. The first bill would require the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which are the people that investigate police actions here in the state, to conduct state-level investigations of use of force incidents involving federal agents. So basically, the first bill was saying, hey, we should have our local guys look into these violent attacks by these ICE agents in the state. The second bill would ban 287 agreements that authorize law enforcement agreements to assist ICE in immigration enforcement. According to the DHS, 9 Minnesota municipalities and counties currently have those agreements, which would all be terminated under the language of this bill. The representative Athena Hollins, a sponsor of the bill to ban local agreements with ICE, said in the interview that she hopes to see more bipartisan support on immigration enforcement there. But, of course, both of those bills failed because, Republicans. They don't even want, I want to make sure we understand, the Republicans who welcomed in ICE to beat and kill people in the city of Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota, they don't even want an investigation locally of the violence used against these people. Trust me, they're not sorry for what happened to the state. They're proud of the abuse of the Minnesota citizens that they helped bring about. They are proud of that. In additional House committees this session, the lack of Republican support has also effectively ended other DFL proposals around immigration enforcement, such as bills to limit ICE presence in school grounds. So once again, Republicans say, ICE, go into that school and get those kids and dangle them in front of their parents to try to trick them out of their house. I'm paraphrasing. Also, it limits the ICE presence school grounds and makes more remedies for Minnesota citizens to sue federal agents. But hey, the Minnesota Republican Party will make sure the people abusing your civil rights have the most protections at all. And guns. There's a reason why they're desperate to change the issue, the topic. Don't let them. Do not allow them to be able to dictate the issue. Make sure you hammer them, especially come November. We're back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
Greg Bakken here. If you love great food as much as I do,